Hey guys, is that clicking or squeaking sound coming from your Propel drive driving you insane? Well, it's likely one of 3 different scenarios that's making that happen. So I'm gonna walk you through how to fix it, help you troubleshoot. All right, let's go. All right, so if you're hearing clicking or squeaking coming from your Propel drive, the likely culprit is this guy right here. It's your crank arm not being tightened tight enough, because these little end bolts here that go into here need to be at 25 foot-pounds. And the problem is, when you take this off, this right here and the inside of here is tapered. And kind of what we're used to whenever we're tightening bolts, whenever we feel resistance, we're like, oh, we're almost done, which is not the case in when it comes to the crank arm, because when it's tapered, when we hit resistance, we actually have quite a bit more to go. And so just keep that in mind whenever you're cranking this on. And there are some tools out there that help you measure torque. It's a torque wrench. Those things are kind of expensive. But just know you're going to probably have to put a lot more torque on your 8mm hex wrench when you tighten this up than you're probably feel comfortable doing, because you think you're going to strip it out, but you're not, because you're actually seating the crank arm on the taper, which is nice. Now first, I put Loctite blue 242 thread locker on the bolt so it doesn't come loose over the season. Word of caution here, if you have the red and blue are very different. So if you're like, oh, I have the red laying around, don't use that. Blue is designed to be removed with common tools. The Loctite red is more permanent. It's an industrial grade thread locker, and it can only be removed with heating the part to 500 degrees. So just keep in mind, this stuff will cure in 24 hours. All right, let's go and put this on, tighten it up. I'll just hit a little bit of resistance. Now just keep on keeping on. Most people will stop kind of right here, but you're still seating this on the taper, so you gotta keep on going. All right, that feels pretty good. I've done this a lot of times. I kind of know around what 25 foot-pounds are, but if you're really, really concerned about it, you can purchase your own torque wrench, and I'll have a couple links in the description below. All right, if you're in a squeak or click and it's not coming from your crank arms, another culprit a lot of people overlook is your thwart bar connector right here. You can take a 4mm hex wrench and tighten this up, because this is loose at all. It's going to make an awful squeak whenever you're putting pressure on both of your pedals. Another way to kind of measure this is, if you see right here, what you don't want is to clamp this down where it's metal on metal. As you can see, there's a spacer in there, kind of rubber spacer. So you want a little bit of gap right here on both sides. Just when you're tightening this up, alternate your tightening when you do that. So it makes it nice and even. But as you can see, it's just sticking out a little bit. Let's make that rubber bulge just a tiny bit, and you'll be good to go, and hopefully get rid of your squeak. Now, if the two I just mentioned didn't help, and you still have a squeak or maybe even a grinding sound, the next likely culprit is one of 2 things. And it's one that your bearings on the inside of your casing here are grinding or squeaking because they haven't been greased. And so you're going to have to take this all apart and get in there and check that out, possibly from water intrusion as well. And if you haven't greased your Propel drive, both your upper assembly and your lower assembly down here, that's something you should be doing every 75 days of normal use. So that could be your issue as well. So if that's you, here's the ultimate guide to grease your kayak Propel drive for peak performance right here. Thanks, guys.